Can you talk a little bit about how offers vary by level?
Sure. I think, especially nowadays, we see a lot less schools extending offers, one early and two in large numbers to these athletes. Unless you're a five-star, one of the top 10, 20, 50 players in the country, even that, you see those guys aren't accumulating 20 offers necessarily, even the high major talents. So, which we saw 5, 10 years ago pretty regularly. As that's pretty common at the high major level. As far as lower levels, I think you see a lot more of schools being very patient, doing a lot more of homework as far as they are not able to just offer the highest, AJ Advanced types. They have to kind of figure out a way to still try to chase higher major, like high major ish talent while still being a mid-major program and trying to figure out how to do that within the confines of their resources and their level. Then you see more of like the low majors. They're also chasing a higher level, but they're closer to a fringe, if you will, with Division 2, where you see a lot of fluidity between the low major and Division 2 levels of just talent in general. I think you and I can both agree we see
Right.
Division 2 programs and that could beat low major Division 1s every single year. So, and we've talked about that before, but a lot of those schools are now getting a little bit more picky with the offers that they're doling out as well, just because you see a lot more kids in the cycle and they can kind of pick and choose who they want. So, especially regarding high school kids. And then you see Division 2s. They're really not as motivated to offer a ton of kids early because what's the motivation? Why? I remember Queens was really infamous for doing this years and years ago, that they would offer kids, but they didn't want it to get out
Hmm.
because that was kind of an indicator for Division 1 schools that these kids are probably more a Division 1 player,
Right.
uh, and and
Kayla
that
Matthews.
yeah, and
Hmm.
several kids got taken in that way. I mean, Nick Pringle, obviously, he was one that came to mind,
Yep.
but so these higher level D2 schools really don't have a ton of motivation to just offer the kids that they like, because then that really relays that these kids are maybe they're maybe, like I said, that fringe. They could maybe play up here, and that gap is not as large. So then in Division 3, uh, they really have no rush either, because again, what's the incentive? You see a lot of these Division 3 programs, they've only started offering here between July and now.
Hmm.
And you see a lot of the Division 3 kids will get offers and commit pretty quickly.
Sure. I think that I really like the way that you kind of explained it from the top down. What I will say, and I think again, just an important understanding to have is that when you're starting to talk about offers, Jeff mentioned this, but I really want to double stamp this. When you talk about the Division 1 level, that is a full, we are assuming within this conversation that that is a full scholarship to attend the school, room, board, and then potentially whatever NIL is impacted or the collective bargaining that impacts that. What I will say is, in talking to a number of Division 1 schools recently, there's a very real chance that based on the fact that the NCAA has shifted to such a place where student athletes, especially Division 1 basketball players, are now seen as what is a school employee, essentially, with the collective bargaining that exists. There's a chance that scholarship offers are gone out the window regardless, because all of that money will just be supplemented by NIL money and collective bargaining money. So that is obviously a bigger conversation that's on the table, but it is important to understand the direction of where NIL is going in that way. The level with the greatest variance in scholarship availability is the Division 2 level. I think that that's a very important understanding for people to have, because what is often thought of is like, oh, well, he's a D2 player. Like, why don't they offer him? Why don't they give him this? Why don't they give him that? Guys, Division 2 schools do not have the same budgets as Division 1 schools. I know that that's this like crazy earth-shattering thing, but in the Division 2 level, you literally have teams that have full scholarships and NIL packages, and then you have schools that maybe some of them have between 3 and 5 full scholarships to give. Those are not the same thing. Now, there's a great variance in Division 1 basketball too, But the difference is that you're still considered a Division I school, and the allure of that is going to lead to some type of benefit in recruiting, whether or not people choose to admit that or not. Now, again, to me, I think that that's a great understanding to have because, for one, it shows student athletes you've got to find a way if you're kind of one of these fringe guys who the most dangerous part of recruiting right now is if you're in that fringe D3 to D2 level. It's always dangerous because people don't know how to recruit that level in terms of do I want to wait? Do I not want to wait? Do I want to take a risk, etc. Guys, you got to have great grades because the easiest way for you to package scholarships at the Division II level is to have academic money coming in once you apply to the school, which you still need to do. And then in addition to that, getting yourself in a place where then you can package that with some athletic money. And so I think that not everything is just as it seems. That's one of the biggest parts of this conversation that we'll continue to get into is there's real depth and nuance and knowledge to this when you start talking about these different levels. And then at the Division III level, that's almost exclusively athletic or academic, excuse me. So in addition to it being academic, you might be able to apply from an outside scholarship perspective, but there is no athletic money there that is going directly towards student athletes' board, room and board and tuition. So the greatest variance is at that Division II level. And it's important if you're being recruited by some of those schools that you ask those type of questions. You have to ask the questions. What does the scholarship look like? Where does it come from? They may have you be on the team and you only have academic money. You may, and understand this too, guys, when you get into these Division II levels, there is a massive difference in scholarship potential between a state funded Division II school and a private funded Division II school. There is a massive advantage to being in the state funded situation. So, all of these types of the conversation, I think, are really, really important, but the variance is key to understand and to ask questions about.
Yeah, I would agree.
Can you talk then?